again, they're showing kind of, they're being transparent. There have been delays, several delays. There's all kinds of different, on Reddit, all kinds of different viewpoints on how much of a delay. If you go back to where they pre-release or they put out that initial grid, you could say it's been delayed 6 times in over 2 years. But if you look at just the delays this calendar year, it's really been 2, and I think we're going to hit a 3rd one. I think they were doing the best they could to get pre-orders out this month, but they still have 10 days. So I don't want to sell them short. I don't have any insider information. I do have a contact at RADA. I know that they are really trying to push this out, and they've said that publicly on Reddit. But at the same time, I don't know that that's going to happen right away. I have never tried the Linux version. That was on the A5 and A6. They have talked about these being dual boot so that you can pick your operating system, but that has not been accomplished yet. Both the A6X2 and the A5X2 have been said that they would be dual boot. I think that the A5 Slim may be, if I remember right from the grid, maybe Linux only. So if anybody in the chat knows or can remember that grid that's on Reddit, maybe they have that way. And then the A4X2, I think it just said Android. So I'm not sure, exactly where they are with that. I know on the roadmap, the Linux dual boot has been put into pending status. It's still in development, but they're focusing right now, at least from what I've seen, they're focusing on Android and iOS and Mac and Windows, trying to build out that app ecosystem. What's kind of neat here is they're reinforcing this idea, and it's a little bit of a disturbing kind of walkthrough, but that the motherboard is exactly the same and the chipset is the same from the A6X or the A6X2 to the A5X2. So theoretically, I'm thinking that if you had your A6X2, if you had one device or the other and one of your chipsets failed, you could potentially move that chipset over or move the other chipset over to the other device. So I think there are some really interesting components to that. Now, from the visual here, it looks like the battery is substantially larger for the A5X2, which to me makes a lot of sense because you are powering a larger device, and maybe you'll see some battery gains. I'm a big one for sustainability. And then, of course, you can go here and they show you the still version. I had to get off of that other that other wobbly one. You can see that it is a larger battery, but again, hooks right in. The expandable storage, they did not do what I think Voya and some others mentioned they might do, which is pop back over to have this reorient in a way so that the port was on the outside. I don't know that they could do that with the way they've built this, what they're calling a bionic back, which is that kind of fatter, thicker middle piece. But at the same time, I think it's pretty cool. And then it says, or maybe you can buy an A5X2 without the CPU. That would be really interesting. I don't know that they're going to go that route. I mean, obviously, RADA has to make money as a company. And they're really getting into the sustainability wars early with this whole product launch. This idea that you can buy this device and theoretically, I mean, I've kept my A5X now for 3.5 years and absolutely love it. And I don't know that I'm going to get rid of it until it finally just dies on me. Other than if I do end up going with the A5X2, I may give this one away to Trey because he had used the Nomad at one point, and the larger screen real estate is nice. But the expandable storage you'll see right here has, I believe it may be, they don't mention it, whether it would be up to 1 terabyte. I think that's what you get on the Nomad, if I remember correctly. But again, a lot of stuff that is really cool. I did not see pins. So Nizoni asked, do you see pins? for a keyboard connection later on. I do not. And I think I think that's interesting. I think that there's some utility in the pens, but I don't know that they're going to come out with a keyboard folio. And I'm not sure if that's because they may be waiting for the A4X2. Just not sure on that. Yeah, I think you're right. And it's not a great selling point. I think it could be twofold. One is because they've promised that these will be interchangeable as far as the chipset. They really, I think, wanted to highlight that they could do that. It also could be them saying that a single source point for that chipset. So letting you know that if you buy something, you're not going to have to worry about you have to buy it only for one of or the other device. You can buy it knowing that they're going to have a stock that will satisfy both devices instead of dedicated chipsets. Because what happened with the A5X, and the reason it's been out of stock, is that you have this issue where they discontinued the chipset. They discontinued all of that, and you had this inability for them to keep producing the A5X while they were transitioning to this new model. And I think that's hurt them in the market. I really do. I think it's hurt them in a lot of ways because you've still had the Remarkable 2 selling like hotcakes. You've still had competitors like the Go 10.3 come out, or the AI paper from Viwoods, which, again, I'm not going to get into the whole debate again, but to me, that's not a competitor yet. Until they launch and are actually selling the devices in the market for the price point that it's going to be in the market, it's an interesting device. It's kind of cool, but it's not viable until they can sell it at what the market price is. And if it really is almost double, 41%, I think, more than what the Kickstarter is, I don't see that being a viable competitor to this product. I do see the Remarkable 2 and the Go 10.3 being competitors in some ways. Again, I think the use case is really, really different because of the software advantages on the